Hello and welcome back to the Masonic Roundtable, a weekly hangout where Masons from around the world get together to talk about Masonic news and opinions in a friendly and social manner. The thoughts and opinions expressed here are solely the opinions of the participants and do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or positions. Make sure you keep your conversations open for the public and on the level. To interact with us, send questions and comments to our Twitter page at Mason Roundtable or on the Facebook event page. My name is John Ruark, and I am a past master of the Patriot Lodge number 1957 in above average Fairfax, Virginia. And I'll hand it off to Nick for introductions.
Hi, this is Nick Johnson, past master of Corinthian Lodge number 67 in Big Time, Farmington.
Thank you, Nick. And we have a light crowd tonight, but we have the quorum of 3, so I'll hand it off to our last host for now, Jason Richards.
Hey everybody, my name is Jason Richards, and I am the Junior Warden of Acacia Lodge number 16 in GOC, good old Clifton, Virginia.
The GOC.
Are you down with the GOC?
Yeah, you know me. All right, moving along into Masonic news. As our reliable source shows, we always go check out what Chris Hodap has. We give him a hat tip to English Masons who are city councilors must declare their membership. This was Friday, July 17th when this was posted. You know, so England has gone through this thing, and we covered in the past about some of their judges and policemen that have to self-declare that they are Freemasons. And yet here's another example of even down to the city councilor level must declare their membership. The English do not trust their Freemasons, and you know, it's right there in their code of conduct. So what do you guys think about this?
Well, it's nothing new. Like you mentioned, you know, this kind of stuff has been happening. It's been in the news a number of times in the past couple of months, and I don't see any rationale because in a lot of these cases you don't have to declare membership in other civic groups. So it's specific targeting. I just don't really get why.
You know, I think the biggest thing is that there's a supposition that power brokers exist in England, and it kind of makes sense because they have a literal stratified society where you've got people that are kings, or queens, dukes, blah 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 blah. And so I think they just view, at least certain people on a certain side of the aisle, they view Freemasonry as parts of the elite, and that they do nepotism and things like that. And it's just I think it has more to do with political affiliation and distrust of government than it has anything to do with actual Freemasons themselves. So,
well, the U.S. never deals with nepotism in politics. I mean, that's certainly not why we're going to have the Bush-Clinton election or anything.
Hey, I didn't say it.
But I think it's kind of funny that they quote it as I think that the public would like to know that we operate in a transparent way. Well, then you might as well declare what church they go to, what their not social security number, but what is their home address and everything like that. It's just not a good reason to do that.
Most frequently visited websites.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yes, your normal route to work, the usual stuff. It also calls for counselors and officers to declare if their spouse is a member of the organization. So even if you're married to a female on the council, your wife must declare you as a Mason.
Really?
Oh, getting outed by your significant other.
Yeah, that's like getting hacked by Ashley Madison.
Yeah. Hey-o.
Oh, jeez. So, sorry for the English brethren that have to put up with this, but sometimes ignorance knows no bounds. All right, another interesting one that just popped up this week, shortly after last week's episode. We have a thing that has been passed around on social networks where, unfortunately, we lost the Nintendo president, Satoru Iwata. Sorry if I screwed that up. and apparently we assassinated him. I'd like to blame that on the failure that was the Wii U. But you got to take care of business. No, this is really sad. I mean, the poor guy had an immediate bout of cancer. Cancer knows no rank. Death knows no rank or character. So, we lost a good leader, and then yet this gets passed around. Kind of odd that this came out of the blue and that we were blamed. We haven't seen a lot of Freemason assassination news articles lately. What do you think about that?
There's a recurring new meme that's going on Reddit, and it's more of a comment meme where, somebody will see a pyramid in a picture and they'll say Illuminati confirmed, and you see it all over the place. Just it's like a jokey thing, and so I assume this is probably more of like a spook. It's spooking people into thinking that kind of stuff. But maybe it is some kind of crazy person that. Because if you listen to this non sequitur stuff, Nintendo was selling playing cards when they got the idea to make game machines, and so then they mentioned Jewish big-time technicians. The name Atari derives from to hit a target, and it's actually a faction organized with a secret society of Freemasons with the target of controlling the Japanese people. So the way to do this was rekindle the Space Invaders boom that was started earlier by the Jews. Since that time, dignitaries of the Masonic Order have been behind the Japanese game industry, and Nintendo continuing to keep the people of Japan. However, President Iwata tried to resist this. What? Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't make this stuff up.
No.
Real life must be so boring.
Yeah.
I know.
If they only went to one of our
jealous.
dinners. We can't figure out what flavor of green beans we're going to have this week.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, an assassination plot. Well, again,
beans? They don't work with my diverticulitis.
Moving along.
You brethren out there know who you are.
Yes.
Every time we have chili.
Why do you serve chili before a meeting? Don't you understand? We lock the door. Honestly.
The Tyler is there to keep everybody in.
Nice. All right. Hey, Jason, why don't you talk about MRF?
Yes. It is official. John and I have bought our tickets. They are non-refundable, so we're going. We will both be there for Saturday and first part of Sunday, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. I just want to give a big hearty thanks to the brethren of Fritz Lodge number 308 and their worshipful master Brian Scoff. They are putting this event on. They are hosting it, and we are really, really happy that they took the opportunity to do so because it means that we can actually drive there without having to fly. Yes. So we're really excited. We hope to see you all there too. Come up to us, talk to us. We would love to hang out with you, and we will see you there.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see some of my Facebook Masonic friends and meet them in person. So if you can get to that, you can. I think Scott Sherman said he'll be there too. That's kind of cool.
Yes, Scott will be there, and I tell you what, if you have such a thing as a Masonic passport, bring your Masonic passport, because for anyone who has gotten one of our thank you cards with our embossed logo on them, I will bring the stamper, and you can be the first to get a TMR stamp in your Masonic passport.
That's kind of cool. I want one.
You have to wait until like tomorrow. So yeah, MRF is going to be fantastic. August 21st through the 23rd. come and take a look at it. Masonic Restoration Foundation Symposium in Philadelphia. It's going to be amazing.
Cool. Looking forward to it. See you at the end of August. Okay, now we shift over to the Masonic Monday question.
On Tuesday.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you very much, John. So I would like to first correct answers. Is that a word? I don't know, but it is now. You guys all did a fantastic job answering a very interesting question on, yes, youth groups, episode 42. Check it out. It's great. So, anyway, the answer
A
was
day
the
that shall
degree of
live in
royal
infamy.
purple. We still get love letters about that particular episode. They really eat that stuff up. They said other things too, but we'll just say that. But the degree of royal purple is the answer. Some Grand Bethels don't use the degree of purple, so I would also accept Grand Primo. So let me read down the list. John Green, Willem Kossen, John Primo, Christopher Croto, Justin Miller, Richard Zarth, Michael Laidlaw, Eric Christensen, Lou Bedford, Alex Nelson, Steve Higdon, Will Fowler, Jared Chapman, Kyle Rowe, Blake Leach, Josh Bartz, Christian Dubs, and 2 entries that I got. Shane Coate in Maine, and Simon Dick. So congratulations. Prize is not in the mail because it's this. You're welcome, guys. That was great. But no, honestly, thank you for all the submissions. You guys did fantastic. All right, so the question kind of relates to a thing that my commandery did where we went to the pistol range, and I finally got a little punch in my man card, and I actually shot a pistol, so I think I have to get 5 more stamps, and they finally send me the real thing. So with that in mind, this week's question. This famous Freemason was known for an invention that significantly changed firearms. A popular phrase from that era went like this: God didn't make all men equal. This famous Freemason did. Who was this famous Freemason? When you have the answer, send it to masonicmonday@gmail.com. Don't forget to include your lodge name, your lodge number, and the hashtag. And this is from our friend Robert Johnson and host on here as well. I love guns. And if you don't love guns, you can also say hashtag I don't love guns. I won't, and maybe I'll even put those in the voting thing, and we'll figure that out. And then
See what the popular tag is.
I already know what it's going to be.
Yeah,
It's going to be like 2 standard deviations away too.
Yeah. No middle ground. Well, there you go. 3 hashtags. Either hashtag I love guns, hashtags I don't like guns, or hashtag meh. There you go.
That's MEH for those.
MEH. John, back to you.
All right, thank you, Nick. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this week's show, which is Baphomet and Lucifer, our conspiracy show part 2.
The devil's in the details.
Ba-doom.
Diablo.
So we talked a little about Lucifer in an earlier episode and how Pike is often, I wouldn't say misquoted, but quoted out of context. But now we're going to explore more about our good friend and brother, Baphomet, and his relations with Lucifer. So how do we want to start? So who are Baphomet and Lucifer? And then we'll get into a little thing that Jason prepared. Who are they? What do they do?
So Baphomet,
turn-offs.
Baphomet most recently has been making headlines in Oklahoma for being a statue that's being erected by the Church of Satan. And I'll show a picture of that in the social media because Simon Dick has already posted that picture to our Facebook page. And what he was originally conceived as was a heretical scapegoat for the Templars by Philip IV. So Philip IV owed a lot of money to the Templars. In 1307, he decided to take that back and subsume their wealth, and so he levied a bunch of charges on them on Friday the 13th, which is where that stigma comes from. He realized that he was kind of in opposition with the Catholic Church at the time, but he realized that if he was able to bring about a charge of heresy, he could legally take their wealth without a lot of church opposition. So there were a lot of claims levied against the Templars, including that they worshipped severed heads, and that in particular they worshipped a bearded head. And that was where kind of the original idea for the Baphomet arose. It was originally some sort of idol that was kind of a bastardization of the name Muhammad.
So Nick, you would know. I think I remember seeing this on some poorly researched History Channel special. But didn't they also say that they thought that the Templars had the severed head of John the Baptist?
It was actually a few different heads.
So
it was either
why stop
John,
with one, right?
I know, honestly. So they said that it was either John the Baptist, it was Hugh de Payens, which would have been the Grand Master. I think he was the first Grand Master of the Templars. Saint Euphemia, was another one. Possibly just a severed head of a Saracen that died, that was killed in battle. It was a bunch of different heads that it could have been the head. So.
Well, it's also been speculated that it could have been something like the Shroud of Turin, and any number of Christian artifacts.
Yeah.
Or patriarchal thingies. Technical term.
So how about Lucifer? Where did this guy come from?
If you've ever seen the movie Angel Heart, apparently he is Robert De Niro.
So Lucifer, I'm going to quote my buddy Albert Pike here. He gets misquoted all the time in one small section out of his entire personal religious comparative work called Morals and Dogma, in which he has a small paragraph talking about Lucifer and how we worship him as a light bearer. So let's talk about where that came from. If you look at where Lucifer was referenced in the King James Bible, it's only referenced once, I think in the book of Isaiah.
It is.
And thank you, Jason. Now, it did not have, when the translation was going on into the King's English, they didn't have a good Hebrew translator, so they used the Latin term Lucifer from the Latin Vulgate, which was the official Latin text of the Catholic Church. So Lucifer literally means light bearer, and what Albert Pike was referencing during that time was the light bearer in the morning. Behold the morning that's coming, a new day's beginning, that kind of thing. And references.
Wasn't it also a reference to the morning star?
Exactly.
Venus.
The light bearer is the morning star, which is Venus. Because Venus is so close to the sun, you yourself can get up early before the sunrise and see one bright star that leads the sun up in the morning. Which is a good thing, right? So it's the one who's starting the day for you. And that's all that was referencing. How it got associated to the devil and evil connotations comes into the topic of this show. So the actual term Lucifer is Latin, does mean light bearer, references Venus, but took on an alter ego. So Jason, I will switch to our PowerPoint now to let you kick things off.
Yep. So as you guys know, in some episodes we go ahead and bring out the old PowerPoint, and this isn't like a government PowerPoint slide. It's not going to bore you to tears, but we wanted to approach this in a structured way, because when you get talking about Leo Taxil and a lot of anti-Masonry. It's very convoluted and it can be hard to follow, so we wanted to try to take a structured approach.
You guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we are good to go. Baphomet and Lucifer, Leo Taxil's anti-Masonic legacy. So again, where did this all start? Templar persecution. You had someone who wanted a lot of money, who decided to blame a group of people because they were mysterious and took secret oaths, which funny enough, was the backbone for why Proofs of a Conspiracy was written in the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Philip IV of France, who owed the Templars a lot of money that he couldn't repay and really wanted their wealth. So in 1307, Friday the 13th, in October, I believe, began mass persecution and torture of the Templars, and he decided to have all of these heretical accusations levied against them, because then he could subsume their wealth without a lot of opposition from the Catholic Church of the time.
That makes it easy.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, I'm just going to say you worship Satan, and the Catholic Church will be like, yeah, go ahead, take their money. And kill them, too, while you're at it. So the Templars were accused of a vast majority, or a number of things, including, like we talked about, worshiping severed heads, and then also accused of worshiping this mystical idol known as Baphomet, which really was a bastardization of the word Muhammad. This ties them back to the Crusades, and it was a way that that Philip could kind of use his influence to say, well, maybe they brought back crazy stuff from the Crusades that was very anti-Christian. Maybe that's how they came about these weird heretical practices. So that was really the start. But that was the original conception of the Baphomet, and we get to Eliphas Levi, who was originally studying to become a Catholic priest, but he found it difficult to keep his vow of chastity, so he became an occultist instead. True story. He actually took that original idea and sketched it out to what you see here. Notice we have censored the inappropriate part of that image because this is a child show.
The chesticles.
Yes. Specifically because we're talking about such wonderful things like Satan. So in his work Dogma and Ritual of High Magic, that was where Eliphas Levi, and I'm butchering the name, actually put his first drawing of the Baphomet in. And this root actually took hold and propagated throughout occult philosophy for centuries to come. It was later integrated. The Baphomet and the idea of the Baphomet was later integrated into Aleister Crowley's Thelema, and in the 1960s, I believe, it was actually adopted as a symbol by the Church of Satan. Funny enough, the Church of Satan doesn't actually worship Satan. They are primarily atheists who are first and foremost designed to troll religions, and troll other religions. They are the ultimate trolls when it comes to religion, and that's kind of the story of Baphomet. However, the interesting piece is, okay, so yes, this symbol of occult philosophy. How does it actually come into Masonry, and how does Masonry actually get associated very incorrectly with both this icon and Lucifer? And that's where we get to a guy named Leo Taxil. That was actually his pen name, but he made a living writing porn.
Yep.
So this guy was a jerk. Now, see, I did a little more research too for this, and that's what I'm going to kind of interject here. Even before your first bullet, he was a known con artist. Two big cons that he did previous to this. I mean, he loved doing this. There was one big one where he talked about these huge sharks that were really being seen by all these fishermen. So he wrote anonymous letters as like 4 different fishermen, and would totally just spook this whole town that's saying, that it's they can't fish and it's impacting their economy and destroys this town until they find out that that there was no person by no fisherman by that name, and his plot unfolds. Fast forward a couple years later, this dude also creates another hoax about a mysterious underwater city, kind of like Atlantis, and he spreads that message even further. He has kind of like this this messaging system that scatters to the 4 corners of the earth. That he talks about all this great hidden treasure and this wonderful lost city that's ancient and full of all this great stuff. And that also, he publicly went out and said, kind of gotcha. He did a public shaming on that. So he admitted to at least 2 different major hoaxes that really upset economies of these different areas.
I mean, this guy had classic like narcissistic personality disorder.
Exactly.
Because he was never content to actually just let people be fooled. We'll see that even with the Masonic hoaxes he did. He announced it to everybody and rubbed it in everybody's face.
But he actually started out as an anti-Catholic, correct? Anti-clerical works.
Yep.
Yep. So he wrote the work "The Secret Loves of Pope Pius IX," and from what I can tell, it was basically a pornographic novel about the Pope, which was just, I mean, at that time, the Catholic Church was was a main seat of power, and
you're not going to win friends that way.
No. So interestingly enough, he about the same time that he was doing that, he actually took the degrees in Masonry.
As far as my research shows, he got his entered apprentice degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's as far as he went. So he and LBJ have a lot in common.
So, but I have seen that he eventually left or was expelled.
Correct.
And at that point, about the same time, he was getting into a lot of trouble with the Catholic Church. So he's frustrated by the Masons, he's getting in trouble with the Catholic Church, and he loves making people look like idiots. So he gets this great idea to pit them against each other, and he feigns conversion to Catholicism, and he plays off of the Pope's recent opposition to Freemasonry as enumerated in the Papal Bull that people still reference today as condemning Freemasonry from the Catholic Church point of view. So he starts to write a bunch of anti-Masonic works. His first work was actually a 4-volume history of Masonry, and it just talked a lot about how Masons were into all sorts of crazy stuff. And
you want me to read some of actually what came from his mind? Because I actually
yes.
From this book called The Goat, the Devil, and the Freemason, which I highly recommend because it's fascinating. This was actually one of his inventions of what the rites of Freemasonry had. Before a man is admitted to the higher degrees, he is blindfolded and led into a room with a live sheep on the floor. The animal's mouth and feet are secured, and it is clean shaven, so that its skin feels to the touch like that of a human being.
Whoa. Hey, you missed the disclaimer in the beginning of the episode. This is open for the public. And you're not allowed to give our secrets away.
Oh, shoot, wrong secret. Oh, I was supposed to read the next paragraph. That goes, the candidate is told that the sheep's body is that of a Mason who has given away the secrets of the order and must therefore die according to ancient law. He is given a knife as the executioner, and after some ceremonial is persuaded to kill the traitor by plunging the knife repeatedly into the body of the sheep, which he imagines to be that of a human being.
Wow.
That was from his mind.
Alrighty then.
I mean, we use a goat, so it's not the same thing whatsoever.
It's completely different. It's a goat
No.
instead of a sheep.
That's so crazy.
Dude, that dude was
So
messed up.
that is the height of insanity. So
So how this gets around to Lucifer and Baphomet is one of the fictionalized accounts and characters that Leo Taxil drummed up in his head was a character of Diana Vaughn, who and he published a bunch of accounts under her name, and she was an associate of Albert Pike, the supreme executive, beloved commander of all things Masonic, supposedly, and he actually invented a number of quotes that refer to the Luciferian doctrine, where Albert Pike supposedly said, we actually worship Lucifer, but we can only let the secret out to the brethren of the 32nd and 33rd degrees. And he took it a step further, and Leo Taxil brought Baphomet into the picture with the Masons as well, because he invented this Masonic order of higher degrees called the Palladium. And his big thing about the Palladium was they worship the Baphomet. That is all they do. And he went on for 12 or 13, I believe it was 12 years that he perpetrated this hoax until April 1897, when he announces, you know what? Tonight I am going to kill Diana Vaughn. And so he drew a huge crowd and announced to the world that Diana Vaughn never existed. His entire writings on Masonry had been a complete hoax. He rubbed it in the face of the Catholic Church, and the crowd rioted to the point where he had to go into hiding. It was ridiculous. And actually, the image we have here in this PowerPoint is the French news article from a day or two after he announced that everything had been a hoax. And the sad part is, and we get people emailing us and sending stuff on the Facebook page saying, "Oh, you Masons worship Lucifer." No, we don't. Well, you don't know about it because it's in the higher degrees, like the Palladium. People still cite this con artist's just fantasies as proof that we worship Satan.
It's over 100 years ago. He said it's a complete farce, and yet here we are. The age of information.
So, yeah.
There we are.
Leo Taxil was a jerk. And here are some of the drawings that he did for some of his works. On the left, you've got two pillars that and some other Masonic symbolism, as well as Baphomet being a creepy stalker to some virgin.
Wow.
A member of OES, perhaps, I don't know. And in the middle actually was a leaflet, news clipping about his works, talking about Baphomet when he was kind of at the height of his hoaxing. And then on the right, you've got the Baphomet being worshipped by a number of Freemasons who kind of look like Knights Templar.
They do look
with
Templars.
swords. And I mean, this guy, you can go through picture after picture of just Leo Taxil's fantasy drawings of Baphomet and how he interacted with the Masons, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. But as we've mentioned, I think the most ridiculous part about the idea of Lucifer and Baphomet being associated with Masonry is the fact that people still, to this day, drum that up. And I don't understand why they feel the need to do that for Masonry, which is really, in and of itself not a secret organization. It is an organization that has secrets, but it's, you know, an initiation ritual. And if you
That's it.
joined a fraternity in college,
Mhm.
I was a member of 2. You don't talk about your initiation ritual.
Or just any secrets in general, right? Your family has secrets, right? You don't give your social security number away. You don't, you do basic things like that. So just because it's secret doesn't mean it's bad, right? But
Believe me, you don't want to sit in on our business meetings. Yes,
don't.
they're held in secret, but they're just terrible.
So I do want to cover one thing that brings it to today, because there are, as you said, there are still fundamentalists that will take these long disproven theories and everything. And I wanted to share with you one thing that I got from the Past Master, and who's known as the Past Master on Reddit. It's a chick tract. If you've never seen a chick tract, it is a little bit of propaganda which talks about how you need to convert and save your soul, and anything you do that's not in accordance with the content of this pamphlet, it's trying to help bring you back. And there is an entire chick tract on that's Baphomet? What?
Which, funny enough, the tract used to be called The Curse of Baphomet, and it had some even more outlandish stuff to the point where it was publicly discredited, and they actually had to go and revise it and re-release it under a different name.
That's not the reason why.
What?
That is not the reason.
People!
Hello,
How did
everyone.
you get here?
Well, you know, I've been hiding in the bunker for the last 6, 8. I really can't tell anymore because there's no windows. But I was told that you were going to be discussing one of the most important figures in all of Freemasonry. That's right. That's Baphomet. And as we all know, Freemasons do in fact worship this deity that is shaped like a goat.
Hey, half a goat.
Half a goat, it has supple breasts, furry legs, and a beard as a goat. We all know it, we all have read it, and you cannot deny it.
Have you read it on Reddit?
What is Reddit? Is that some kind of government conspiracy?
It's
Sounds
like
it.
It's for people who never got over the old Usenet groups.
Usenet isn't closed. I've been talking to myself on it for 3 decades, I think.
Fair enough.
But
So
you know,
we
the
spent
thing
a lot of
is-
time saying how Baphomet was completely made up, not true. What do you have to say about that?
Well, you know, I have to say that, you know, as an avowed atheist, I understand, but really, when we all think about it, Masons all do, in fact, go to hell. According to Jack Chick, who we really take as one of the most important figures in all of comic book history.
I'm sure
Stan
you do.
Lee, Jack Chick.
Oh, man. All right, hey, Sheeple, do you mind sticking around while we talk about some social media aspects, and maybe you can counteract or enforce some of the things that are brought up? How's that sound?
I would love that. Thank you very much for allowing me to have this time, and I apologize. Nicholas Johnson is, in fact, knocked out on the floor because, well, there's something that he didn't know that I actually learned through my research, is that Baphomet actually exudes a type of poison, and I've been able to find out what it smells like, and that's what I've used. It smells a little bit like chloroform, and that's what I've used on it. So,
All right, good,
He won't
good. Well, as long as he's safe, that's all that matters. Jason, why don't you tell us what we got?
Let's start with this beauty from our good friend Jason Mitchell out in Utah. He was on our episode Conversations with the 33rd. We have the Barbie Baphomet from Mattel. And that's just awesome. I mean, for things that you want to give your kids, to make sure they never have a good night's sleep ever again.
well,
Barbie,
it's really an indoctrination tool. We want to get the children very, very comfortable with the idea of Baphomet. Not exactly sure why, but I'm glad Mattel is finally showing its true colors as a part of the conspiracy.
It's anatomically correct and it's articulated. So.
Oh, thank
Just
God.
like this Homer
Oh,
Baphomet. And we know John is a crazy Simpsons fan. So
Yes.
this furthers the indoctrination and furthers the Masonic hidden agenda to make sure everybody's okay with Baphomet.
And if you read the letters on his arms, they do spell dough nuts.
it makes perfect sense. Matt Groening, who is, in fact, and I've learned this, a famous Freemason, has somehow managed to keep The Simpsons on the air for more than 20-some years. It has to be a conspiracy.
No show that goes down in quality like that should stay on that long.
Never. I don't understand.
And so I think you'll find this very interesting, Sheeple.
Whoa, hello.
We alluded to this earlier in the show. Simon Dick just got back from Oklahoma, the home of the Baphomet statue that we talked about in the first couple minutes of the show.
It's glorious. Finally, a public statement of connecting Baphomet, the Templars, Freemasonry, Palladium, and Oklahoma. It's beautiful.
Are you saying that Freemasonry actually originated in Oklahoma with the Baphomet?
That or Satanism.
It was actually congealed there to become what it is today.
That is great. The worst part about that statue, before you click off of that, Jason, is the children that go with that. And for those listening on the podcast, it is a statue of a throned Baphomet, arm raising in the air, and yet there's a boy and a girl on each side looking up at Baphomet, and it's the creepiest thing that I've probably seen in a long time.
At least this one doesn't have boobs.
Yes.
That is true. What is this youth group, do you think, that they are representing?
Oh, jeez. Is that an episode 42 reference, or?
Is that a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference? Because if so, then yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
we had so much fantastic stuff all throughout the week on social media. Simon Dick had said, Simon Dick, who is actually very well versed in Hebrew and comparative religions, he said that Hebrew Hylal actually appears 3 times that he's seen so far, but is only translated as Shining One in Isaiah 14:12. It also appears in Zechariah and Ezekiel, but is translated as cry or wail. So if you go back to the original Hebrew in the Old Testament, there's the same word is translated in 2 very different contexts.
True, and you could also include, and this is true, that John the Baptist was also, they would use that in early Christian writings to describe John the Baptist, because he was in fact the bearer of the light, and also a Freemason.
Yes, absolutely.
And also Baphomet.
So
And
we have to
also
talk
Baphomet.
about this meme as well, because we can't go show without memes. And, Lucifer? You mean Lucifer.
Aha!
That is in fact a good meme to describe what's really going on. Is that actually, and you might know this, but Lucifer and Baphomet are actually only intermediary deities of evil. There's even higher ones that are in other degrees that we have never actually experienced. The
Is
so-called.
their name Nick Johnson?
I have not, because I want to stay clean of any kind of control. Something about unknown superiors.
We haven't got to that level yet. Is that what you're saying?
Not quite, Porch Mason. Not quite.
Porch Mason.
You're almost there.
Jason, what was that one you had?
Well, let's go to the My Little Baphomet first,
Wow.
because this thing's just awesome.
Ages
That's
5 and up.
horrible.
I know, it's so cute. No, Jared Chapman, who runs a fantastic blog called Fresh from the Quarry, it actually said there's a scientific study that conspiracy realists,
Not theorists.
branding, are more sane and less hostile than Sheeple. And for the purposes of this episode, I would tend to agree, because Sheeple is quite hostile, aren't you?
I believe that I'm a fighter of freedom. So yes, I do in fact fight freedom.
Yeah, if firefighters fight fires, then what do freedom fighters fight?
They fight freedom.
Oh, funny.
Yes. So, yes, and our friend and brother David Weatherby said, "Wow, Nick shot a pistol. Come on down to Texas, and everybody owns guns."
Well, I can tell you one thing. Nicholas was in fact quite excited to have come back. I think he finally got to live out some kind of dream. I told him, I have at least 9 million in my bunker, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why you're so excited. Gee whiz.
And apparently, there is a Twitter handle called Buddy Baphomet,
Yes.
and we have been added to the list. Peeps who summoned me.
So, yes, we have summoned Baphomet and added to his Twitter feed.
Does that mean he'll be selling you things?
Yes.
Wishes?
Just our souls.
He gets a cut from every copy of Albert Pike's Esoterica that gets sold.
Got my brand new copy tonight.
So that's I think that's about good for social media. We had some fantastic doozies in there, but honestly, the whole idea of Masons as a secret organization is just it's just so dated and just it's not grounded in any share of reality. And what gets me is when you meet an anti-Mason who says you all worship Satan, and then you say, actually no, we don't, and they say, well, you don't actually know what you're talking about.
Right. So how would you know if I don't know and I'm in? How would you know and you're not even part of the membership, right?
Sheeple,
almost there.
what's your response?
You're almost there. You see, you have to join the Rosicrucians, and then from there, you join into the Palladium, and then from there, you go a little bit higher to the Aunt B Society, and then up there, you go to the John Birch's Jr. Society, and then finally,
you get to
see
Scientology.
and Scientology. But Scientology really was just the commercial version of all this, anyways.
Illuminati
let's be
confirmed.
honest.
Yep. All right. Okay, well, it's about that time of the evening, gentlemen. I think we'll start wrapping things up. Great conversation, a lot of history, a lot of knowledge, and I will start with Jason Richards to start bringing us home.
So, yes, Baphomet and Lucifer, and this was an interesting topic. It was a very fun one to do because it's just so ridiculous and so ludicrous. But still, to this day, I have people I meet who are skeezed out by the fact that I'm a Freemason because they're worried that it's either a religion or has some sort of nefarious religious purpose. And as we spoke about in our previous episode on Masonry and religion, it's just not the case. It's just very, very interesting to see what people gravitate to out of convenience. And the hard part about arguing against that is that people kind of employ Occam's razor, and you say, okay, well, there was this con artist, and he invented this person who invented things about what this person said, but then he swore that he didn't actually do it. When you put that up against Occam's razor of Freemasons worship Satan, then it seems to be easier to be like, principle of parsimony, Freemasons worship Satan. And it's a lazy way of trying to shift blame and ostracize a group of people who are actively trying to take good men and make them better.
Your logical fallacy is
Is everything.
.com.
So yeah, it's. But hey, everybody, thanks so much for watching the show tonight, putting up with us, putting up with our lax security. OPM's got nothing on us because we got hacked by Sheeple. So.
And I really enjoyed my time. Thank you.
He always enjoys his time way too much. So we love you guys very much. Keep interacting with us on Facebook. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Stay tuned for next week's episode, because next week's episode is going to be fantastic. I am going to be broadcasting from a secret location, Masons and Secrecy.
Hold on to your butts.
With two guests, and I'll probably put the invite up later tonight, and it'll be a fantastic show. We're all going to learn a lot. It's going to be great. We're going to have an awesome conversation. You won't want to miss it. It'll be fantastic.
Sweet. All right. Thank you, Jason. Sheeple 35. Thanks for joining us again. It's been way too long, and I just want to give you the opportunity to say your final thoughts and really set us straight on what the true light and true meaning is.
Certainly, I am more than pleased to explain everything like that that we have been discussing. But at this point, I don't know. I mean, you're both porch masons, and I accept that. And I think it's very wonderful that you allow me on this show to try and educate you.
We didn't technically allow you.
Well, true. I mean, whatever. He's fine. I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, his wife can take care of him. Well, let's be honest. If you're not in the Palladium, you ain't Palladium. You know what I'm saying? And so one day, when you guys are in fact allowed into the different levels, the baklava of secret societies, if you will, one day yes, both of you, will experience what Baphomet really has to offer. And I'm very excited for when you finally tell me what that is, because I've been waiting a long time for actual documented evidence that Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and where Jimmy Hoffa's buried. So if you can find out all three of those, and also that pie recipe of that lady across the street, drives me crazy.
Send it to masonicmonday@gmail.com.
That would be most appreciated. Although I don't have access to that account, you can also send it to wakeupsheeple35@gmail.com. I know, in fact, the government is searching through those emails at this moment, but that's okay. I also have a secret back channel, through a side channel, down a hill, over a ledge, and through the trees, that I will get the email from you.
At your grandmother's house.
That is true, because that's where I'm living right now. That's why I'm wearing my XY sunglasses, but we don't need to discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheeple, for joining us. It's always a pleasure, and you always enlighten us. Geez, as for me, this has been a great episode. Learned a lot, and I definitely want to again encourage you to stick around next week, as we have a very cool topic. So stand by for that. Not even going to give it away. As you may have figured out by now, both Robert and Juan were missing this episode, and so Juan feel better. What'd you say? Coincidence? I think not.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yes, we were definitely hit by Baphomet and Lucifer today as we were trying to get this show together. But Juan, feel better, and Robert, get your Royal Arch chapter together. So with that, thank you very much for listening, for watching, and keep searching for more light. Have a good night.